Boom. Hi, I'm Josh, and welcome to the Project Freedom Podcast, where we discuss anything and everything that has to do with sovereign individualism and living the lifestyle that you want to live. And today, I have a special topic that I've been wanting to do a regular video on for quite some time, but I just haven't gotten around to do it, honestly, because I've been too lazy and I've been doing other things. So I just figured I would actually do this investigation live, and I want to preface this by letting you guys know I have not done any sort of research on this whatsoever, except for what I have minimally done in a long time. This is probably like 3 or 4 months ago. Cody Mouse, shout out, yo, learn me something. We will indeed learn something today. But before we get into that real quick, go ahead and smash the like, please, if you guys can. People who are watching on the repeat, please smash like. Do it for your boy. And also check out the channel sponsor if you guys want to go to this website right here, www.seviipay.com, SeviPay. Easy and swift MetaMask Ethereum-based integration for payments on your website, whether you offer some sort of online service or literally anything that people buy things from you online. They're pretty great. I've talked about them last time, but they're the most streamlined, easiest company out there that allows you to add MetaMask integrated Ethereum payments to your website. And whether or not you know how to develop or the person that does your website is your developer, you just simply pay for it. They send you 3 or 4 lines of code. You give it to your developer or you do it yourself. You go ahead and embed it in your website and boom, you got a button that allows someone to send you Ethereum for payments. Thank me later. Okay, guys, today we're actually going to talk about, onto the actual topic. Today we're actually going to talk about, is Ethereum actually decentralized? And we're going to do a little audit of the Ethereum nodes to the best of our capabilities, okay? Max Dignus in the chat, smash like you'd smash the buy Bitcoin on Coinbase to defeat Lord Bog. Yes, indeed smash that like in the equivalent manner. And also, we got some huge dumpage going on today, which was, it's pretty cool, pretty nice for some of us. I was having a prediction in 3 months ago that in the year 2028, one Big Mac will equal $1 million US. And, if you really want to be in the top of that Big Mac citadel, you guys better start hustling, get you some Big Macs. All right, guys. So enough of the jokery and the fuckery. So if anyone here has heard the claim before that Ethereum is quote unquote not truly centralized, one of the things that was floating around for quite some time and kind of like is still floating around is that Ethereum is not truly decentralized because a majority of the nodes are run off of cloud servers. And like, so I've heard 3 separate things in the past. I've heard that 60% of Ethereum nodes are ran off of AWS servers, which I definitely don't think that's true. And I've heard 33% is ran off of AWS servers, and then I've heard 25%. But regardless of if it's either of those, regardless of let's just say, I don't know, 90% of them were ran off of AWS web servers. Is that really even a problem? And I really don't know. I can have an opinion on it, and I have had opinions on it before, but that's what we're going to try to find out today. And the people say that basically it's a problem because what if Amazon gets angry, or what if the government, the U.S. government, or just some governmental entity goes over and knocks on Amazon's door and it's like, yo, hey, that Ethereum blockchain thing that you guys are allowing to run off of your web servers? Yeah, cut all those off right now. And they could, theoretically, Amazon could shut down any sort of Ethereum nodes on an AWS web server, right? And would that actually happen though? And if it would happen, would that be a problem? So let's just say literally 90% of them were on there. Would that be actually a problem? So let's look at statistic numero uno, because I have a few of these guys pulled up here. I lied, guys. I did do a minute amount of preparation, but I only did some Google searching and I actually didn't even look at these links yet. However, this is an old link that I have looked at before in the past, and it's going to be nice to go ahead and look at it again because I don't know. I mean, these things update regularly, right? So let's look at this little website right here. Oh, excuse me, guys. Give me 1 second because I'm streaming off of Brave browser today. I don't know why I did that, and I hardly use my Brave browser for any of this stuff. So now I have to go ahead and allow my computer permission to do this. You guys can enjoy the ASMR typing. All right, so let's see. Allow that. Uh-oh. Brave browser will not be able to record the contents of your screen until it is quit. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, guys. All right. I don't know how we're going to do this because actually, you know what? Let's just not do that. What I can do is I can go ahead and simply open up Google Chrome and just copy and paste this because, if I did that, then the stream would indeed, if I had to kill Brave browser, the stream would indeed go bye-bye. So we'll do that. So let's copy and paste this right here. Thank you guys for your patience. Patience is a virtue. Don't forget that. Just like everybody needs to be patient with the current Bitcoin price right now. All right, let us go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Can everybody see my screen nice and clear? Oso Chain in the chat says, let's get it started. Yes, let's get it started in here. Nick Sledgian. Don't you need specialized hardware for ETH? That's a good question. We're going to answer that question today, actually. Blockchain Mac, yo-yo, shout out Blockchain Mac. Cody says, outages on AWS happen every once in a while. You'd think that topic would come up somewhere. Yeah, that's true. F in the chat, did I get disconnected? Am I live, guys? Can you see me? Am I live? Let me know. Let me know if we're not, let me know if I'm not crazy over here. All right, I'm just gonna pretend like we are indeed live still and that everything is A-okay. So you guys can see, so this website is called ethernodes.org, and you guys can check this out yourself. Okay, and this is just Ethereum mainnet statistics. This isn't for the testnet, which although, I mean, you can, I believe there you can go like, if you do just like / Robson or whatever, there's some sort of like different string you can put in here to get in the URL to get it to look at the different test networks. But here's a breakdown percentage of the clients for the Ethereum mainnet statistics. All right. And instead of looking at client types, let's look at countries, because this is probably the most concerning first and foremost. So let's just see as far as decentralization goes. You were on Brave browser. It was for the Brave browser. Yeah, probably so. That's probably why. Brave's being lame. I probably shouldn't be using Brave to stream. So the most concerning part about something being decentralized is that, hey, maybe like a majority of these services and nodes that are running are all contained in one area, right? If you look here, United States is leading at the top for the amount of nodes, okay, at a strong, solid 38.08%. All right, so we have 1,684. Like, I don't think there's really not in total. There's really not is there a total count? There's no way. There's no way Iceland. I mean, I would think some of these these Central American countries would have more than one. I might be getting away ahead of myself. That being said, though, and it's something else we're also going to discuss here in a second, but there's different types of nodes, okay? There's, for Ethereum at least, there's quote unquote full nodes, which basically do everything and anything. And then there's like partial nodes, and then there's like light nodes, and in actuality, if you have MetaMask installed in your browser, like I do up here in the top right, then you basically are you're running a quote unquote Ethereum node. Now, are you doing everything that Ethereum node does? No, because for that instance, if you're just using basically MetaMask, so you're using software that interacts with the Ethereum network, and it's basically a bridge. But by definition, it would be considered a node. All right. And I don't think this numbers, because it says there's only 4,422 total nodes. And I think these numbers are way too small for like every single like quote unquote node. So these are probably just main nodes or full nodes. All right. So again, back to where we were. It looks like the United States is leading off with a strong 38%. All right. So obviously, a majority of these nodes are located in the United States. All right. It looks like Germany, 697, so 15.76%. So this was the same as before. Actually, United States and Germany were the top two. Last time I checked this out, and I think about February, and I do believe China was indeed the third, but I want to say that it had more than 387 nodes, and I don't know why that number is lower. It might have something to do with it might have something to do with some of the policy changes that they had, because I know recently China has kicked out a bunch of Bitcoin miners, actually like yesterday or the day before. Then we got Singapore at 3%. So, okay, if you guys notice, like really after China, and China is only 8.75%. We go down to 3% and then just that's it from there, right? Why is Hong Kong its own statistic at 1.99%, and then China as a whole 8.75%? What I want to know, one thing I would like to find out, is if this 1.99 is included in this 8.75. All right, we got Japan at a solid 1.94, South Korea, Russia, Australia, and we got some. Let's look at this. Let's look at the weird countries. All right, so Brazil has 19, India. I don't even know how to say this. Is that like the Czech Republic? I'm not even sure. Am I geographically disabled, guys? Somebody tell me how I pronounce that. Poland 12, Hungary 9, Croatia 9, Norway 9, New Zealand, Turkey, Greece, Vietnam, Lithuania, Slovenia, Mexico, Thailand, Indonesia, Denmark, Malaysia, Latvia, Argentina, Portugal, Bulgaria. Even Bulgaria's got some nodes. South Africa, Kazakhstan, holding up strong at 3 nodes, keeping up 0.07% of the hash power. Unknown. So this is something I'm also, we don't really even know what some of these are. And this is actually similar to the Bitcoin network too. There actually is quite a bit of quote unquote unknown mining nodes. And there's a few reasons why this could be. Essentially, one could theoretically, and I don't quote me on this, guys, because I don't 100% know, but one could theoretically sort of mask their IP address, right, and make it and run an Ethereum node and make it seem like they're somewhere else. So another thing that would be a little bit suspect from websites like this and just with other technologies that are similar is like the amount of truth. Like, who even knows that these things are true? Georgia, I'm assuming this is a state, not the country Georgia. I really don't know. Estonia. Okay, so we got Belize, Cyprus, Sint Maarten. I don't even know where the hell this is. Peru. What is this? Seychelles. Okay. So point being is, what is this unfiltered, unsynced nodes? Okay. The point being, though, is that it's obviously not, there is no greater than 50% hashing power in one place. All right. Now, United States at a solid 38.88%. That's quite a bit, right? So what if we do Russia is 1%? Okay. So off the bat, I probably wouldn't necessarily say that the location of the Ethereum nodes for the main net are suspect to being too centralized and not truly decentralized. All right. Let's continue our little research. Let's look at the different operating systems, because this is actually kind of important as well. So 92% of the operating systems that are running these Ethereum nodes are on Linux. All right. Now, this is important because Windows and Mac are what? These are 100% centralized operating systems, meaning, and not that, it's location dependent centralization, but meaning that, Windows and Apple, Windows and Mac OS, there's two companies that are responsible for this software, right? There's two companies that are responsible for this software. And due to that, something could easily happen to where, like, let's just say for argument's sake, the same example I said earlier, that Big Brother gets angry and they say, okay, we're going to go Excuse me, guys. My mic was muted. I don't know where you guys left off. I greatly apologize for that. All right, so let's see if we can go back. We can back up to where we were. I hope you guys can hear me again. I actually had someone use a Bluetooth, and it looks like it connected to my speakers, but I think we're good to go now. All right. Boy, oh boy. Okay, back to where we were. So I don't know if you guys heard this, but I'll reiterate again. Why this is important that 92% of operating systems that are hosting these Ethereum nodes are run off of Linux is because Windows and Mac, so Windows and Apple, being two companies, they're two centralized companies, right? And they control the operating systems, and thus, because they control the operating systems, they write the code for these operating systems, okay? So also, theoretically speaking, not saying that this would ever happen, not saying that it would never not happen, but theoretically speaking, if a governmental entity wanted to go to one of these companies and wanted to shut down, they wanted to stop this company from allowing Ethereum to run off of their software because they just, whatever reason, didn't like Ethereum, they could just simply go knock on Windows' door and say, hey, Bill Gates, would you mind preventing this from happening? Thanks. Have a good day. If you don't do what we say, we're going to take you into the back room and give you the $5 rinse treatment, right? And Linux obviously is what? It is an open, quote unquote, open source. It's not truly open source, but that's a topic for another day. Linux is an operating system that is quote unquote open source and thus free for anybody to download, and its code is written by random people. It's like basically free software, right? So there's no company that is actually responsible for doing these different Linux distributions, and there's a boatload of Linux distributions, right? So when this says Linux, we don't know what actual type of Linux it could be, like what flavor of Linux it could be, like could be, I don't know. Name any one of like the 10,000 different flavors of Linux, right? But that's important as well. Okay, so we have 92% Linux, 6% Windows, and 1% Mac OS. So number two, I would also say that this is not anything to be suspicious of centralization, because if I were to say I want to run a node for something that I want to be decentralized, it would most certainly be on some sort of Linux or Unix based operating system, right? Not something that a company can prevent from happening. Okay. So, all right. So we're 2 for 2 right now. We're 2 for 2 with being decentralized. Okay. As far as countries go, and then as far as operating systems go. Now, the countries is a little bit more like suspicious than 38% in one country is a little bit more like suspect than this hard 92% being on an operating system that is not susceptible to being just played around with that. Max in is hot fudge brownie Linux. Yes, indeed, hot fudge brownie Linux is indeed the best flavor. Now let's look at network types. Okay, hosting. All right, 62%. All right. So here is where we are starting to run into a problem now, all right? So we have 33% are residential, okay? 33% of nodes are basically ran off of someone's, like a person's computer, right? Okay, and 62%, so a majority of Ethereum nodes are ran off of some sort of hosting service, all right? I.e. Amazon Web Services or something of like caliber, right? Now, does it say the type? No, it doesn't. And I wish it would. Maybe if we click into this, it might tell us some more. We have 1% running off of cellular. Looks like colleges. There's 17 colleges, 13 unknown, 2 dial. we have two Ethereum nodes running on dial-up. Okay. That's funny. All right, but let's check this hosting out and let's see if all right, okay, boys. Here's what we were looking for. Here is what we were looking for. Here's where the trouble might be. All right. So I said, what did I say first? I heard 60%, and then I heard that 30%, and then 25%. All right, so this is 28%. 28% of Ethereum nodes are ran off of Amazon Web Services. All right, some sort of Amazon web server. Couldn't tell you exactly which one it is, but there you go. So all right, that's a pretty big majority. And next we got Hetzner Online GmbH. I've never even heard of that. All right, that's 12%. Which isn't a whole lot. DigitalOcean 7%. Google Cloud 7%. Okay, so we got another big company here too, Google. And then all these other companies. Microsoft at 1%. Wait, so how is Amazon.com 28%, and then they're going to label Amazon, just regular Amazon, 1% as a different entity? Maybe I'm confused about something with that, but yeah, most of these other ones are just kind of like no-namers, right? Which is actually a good thing. Max Dennis Peter dial-up equals Peter Schiff. I bet it is Peter Schiff's node. That sneaky little fucker. All right, so okay, so we have we're about we're 2 points decentralized, 1 point centralized. But I mean, I would even argue, guys, honestly, like yeah, so it looks like this Amazon plus the other Amazon total up for a majority of 31%. All right, and Hetzner Online is 14%. Okay, so 31%. So if Amazon wanted to shut down the Ethereum blockchain, they could theoretically nuke 31%. All right, 31% is what they could theoretically nuke. Now, would that be a problem? In my opinion, I don't think that would really. I do not think that would be a huge problem, because I mean, again, what's 100 minus 31? 69. So I mean, 69 larger than 51% of the rest of this is elsewhere. Now, would it cause issues? Yeah, it would probably like lead to some sort of like decrease in security and maybe some other issues. But I mean, as soon as these people that are hosting these nodes on Amazon, I mean, if these are probably like probably maybe normal people as well, but also people in mining pools. Cody says, I think your share screen might be frozen still on OS distribution. Maybe we're just lagging, guys. Let's see. Can you guys not see this? Ethereum mainnet statistics. Uh-oh. It does look like it's lagging. I'm looking at it in real time, but it's looking like, oh boy, guys, this is why you don't use Brave browser for this stuff. Let's see. Let's see, guys. Me back. All right, can you guys see me? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys can see me, or just scream really loud if you guys can hear the ambulance outside right now, because I most certainly can hear it. All right, let's try this again. Share screen. Okay, and we want to do screen 3. Can we do the entire screen? Okay. All right. Now you guys should be seeing the correct screen. All right, beautiful. Okay. So back to where we were. Thank you guys for the ones in the chat. Back to where we were. If you look over here, we got we went to the networks and we drilled into the hosting. Okay. And you guys can see that Amazon does indeed have 31%, or rather, let's just say this the other way. 31% of these nodes are ran off of Amazon web servers. All right. So Is that a problem? I don't think it is. Could it be a problem? I guess. But what I was going to say before the screen froze was that, for argument's sake, I mean, most of these people running these nodes are probably either, residential or part of a mining pool. And as soon as that, if Amazon really did shut this down, I mean, they could just like pack up and go elsewhere and just, either run their own node on their own computer, which, they would have to buy a lot of equipment for, or they would just use maybe Hetzner. All right. And then in that case, Hetzner would have a majority of these nodes running on it. But again, if some bad actor wanted to easily destroy the Ethereum network, I still, so far, don't see anything that is extremely too pressing. All right. So maybe we are 2.5 for 3. All right. 2.5 for 3, but only because Amazon company itself is a little bit suspect. All right. Cody Mouse says, why on earth would you put this on Azure? Slightly surprised it's on there. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess because maybe these people can't afford a machinery for a large amount of full nodes, so they host on Azure. So the thing is, guys, and another thing I wanted to talk about, which we're going to get to next, is what exactly is an Ethereum node, so that people can actually understand this in layman's terms. All right. So let's just see how easy it is. And I don't know, where is the page? Did I delete it? All right, here we go. So nodes and clients. Joe, just for a simple breakdown, and if some of these things don't make sense, I will translate for you guys so you guys can understand what I'm saying. But Ethereum. So what is a node and clients? Ethereum is a decentralized network of computers running software known as nodes. All right, it's the things that we're just talking about that can verify blocks and transaction data. You need an application known as a client on your computer to run a node. All right, so this is the important part. You need an application on your computer, right? So what does this mean to you guys? This means that, like, basically anybody who has a computer can run an Ethereum node, right? It's a little bit different than the Bitcoin network. It's actually very, very different than the Bitcoin network. Back in the day, when the algorithm complexity of Bitcoin was a lot easier, like literally anybody could mine Bitcoin on like a super old crappy laptop, but we cannot do that anymore. The mining complexity for Ethereum is a lot softer than Bitcoin's for now, temporarily, and that is actually going to be changing soon with something called sharding, which I'm sure some of you guys might know. And I said sharding, not sharting. But hopefully it won't shard. Hopefully it won't shard itself when it does that. All right, so prerequisites. So what do we need to run these nodes? You should understand the concept of a peer-to-peer network and the basics of the EVM, which basically EVM stands for the Ethereum Virtual Machine. Before diving deeper and running your own instance of an Ethereum client, take a look at our introduction to Ethereum. So, I mean, this is basically just what explain the Ethereum blockchain and what the Ethereum Virtual Machine is. And basically, like, okay, so for you guys to understand, the EVM, or the Ethereum Virtual Machine, it's just the Ethereum network, right? What is a machine? In computer science, when we say the word machine, we're speaking about literally like a computer, a physical like the hardware that you use, right? So I'm streaming right now on a MacBook Pro. That is my current machine, all right? That is my quote unquote machine. What is a virtual machine? A virtual machine is really just a piece of software that runs inside of a computer that mimics the environment of a computer or a network of computers, all right? If anyone here has done any Java programming, you guys know that basically all the Java is compiled and ran in what's called the Java virtual machine, which basically is software that mimics some sort of environment that is safe for your code to run in, okay? So that's all the EVM is, except the EVM is that plus, but it requires multiple of these clients communicating together to do its job, all right? If there was just one, it could technically still do its job, but it wouldn't, and that's, a whole nother conversation. But what are nodes and clients? Nodes refer to a running piece of client software. All right. A client is an implementation of Ethereum that verifies all transactions in each block, keeping the network secure and the data accurate. So you can see a real-time view of the Ethereum network by looking at map of nodes. We just looked at that earlier. Many clients exist in a variety of programming languages. Just go. All right. So Geeth, G-E-T-H, Geeth is basically like Ethereum written in Go, and that's the most popular one. So like if you can basically go to their GitHub and literally download their code. Rust, JavaScript, Python, C#, .NET, and Java. I think it's weird that they have an implementation in .NET, but whatever. That's the last thing I would want to be writing that in, but whatever. What these implementations have in common is that they follow a formal specification based off of their yellow paper, right? And the specification dictates how the Ethereum network and blockchain functions, blah, 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 blah. It's like Beef, Beth, Beef, Geth, Geeth, Geth, yes. Proof of work consensus. All right, so this is just a diagram, blah, 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 blah. All right, node types. All right, so here's what I was talking about earlier. There's different node types, guys, all right? A full node is the big daddy of all these things. And I don't think all those other nodes were being measured in those statistics properly. I think those statistics just included full nodes, all right? Because it just wouldn't make sense to include light nodes or archive nodes, all right? But again, a full node, what is a full node? A full node stores the full blockchain data, which is I think 31 gigabytes of data right now, or 30 something gigabytes of data total for all Ethereum blockchain. It participates in block validation and verifies the blocks and states. All states can be derived from a full node. It serves the network and provides data on request. All right, so a full node is, one of those nodes that does basically, you can just consider a full node as one of those nodes that does everything, all right? It does the job that is needed, all right? Then we have what's called a light node, all right? And all the light node does is basically, instead of storing all the data, and it stores the header, chain, and requests everything else, all right? So to explain what the quote unquote header data is, and I don't know if this plugin is gonna work, it would be nice if it did, but I can use this little whiteboard app that I have over here for you lovely people to see what this means. So when you have what's called a quote unquote block in a blockchain, you can think of it like something like this. So you got a block, all right? And one block points to the next one, and then that one's created, all right? And then that one points to the next one, and that one's created, all right? And in each of these blocks, there's what's called a header, all right? And then there's just basically the data inside. I'll put D for data, okay? D for data, all right? And I'll put H for header. All right. Now, the header contains a brisk amount of information that's really just needed for several things, not for everything. And then the actual block itself contains the majority of the data. So when they say header, they're talking about this part of the block. All right. So a light node only contains that. All right. And it can verify the validity of the data. The data against state roots in the block headers. It looks like that plugin didn't work. All right. So useful for low capacity devices such as embedded devices or mobile phones. So this is where maybe some of those mobile phones were included in there. I mean, it said 1%. There's no way. I mean, sure, if that was accommodating for every single MetaMask account, it would have to have been more than all that. And there's literally no way. But yeah, MetaMask is considered to be a quote unquote full node, okay? Or sorry, a light node. So I mean, basically, if you have MetaMask and you're using MetaMask, you're connecting to the Ethereum network, right? And then we have archive nodes, and these are just basically nodes that just basically build an archive of historical states. So if you ever wanted to query something like an account balance at block number 4 million, that's what that would be for, right? So anybody can literally run an Ethereum node, all right? How do you do that? I mean, it's pretty simple. And I know that's not what you guys are here for, but I'm going to make a point. I'm going to make a point. Just give me a second, guys. I'm going to make a point. Environment hardware. So you have local hardware or cloud hardware. All right. However, a censorship-resistant decentralized network should not rely on cloud providers. All right. So even them themselves are stating that as well. It's healthy. It's healthier for the ecosystem to run your node, your own node of hardware. The easiest options to pre-configure machines are DApp node and Avado. Okay. Operating systems, all clients support major operating systems. Signing up for the node. Okay. First, download your preferred client software. Let's look at the list of these. Geeth, Open Ethereum, Nevermind, Bisu, Aragon. All right. Geeth, which is the one that's based off of, or written in Go, Google's programming language. It's the most popular one. But basically, you can just download this, and then what you do after that you non-tech savvy people is you open up one of these little guys right here called the terminal, and then you run some commands, and then boom, you have a running node. All right. So anyone and everyone can run one of these nodes. All right. So that brings us back to our main point. So far in our investigation, I have not seen anything that would indicate to me that Ethereum is not decentralized. Okay. And I'm not saying that out of bias. All right. I'm really not saying that out of bias. I'm like just my legitimate opinion. All right. And some Bitcoin maxis, some Boomer coin maxis would probably be very upset about that. Because that's their number one go-to is that, like, oh, Ethereum's trash because it's not truly decentralized. And, if Amazon did want to just shut it down, that they could just shut it down. But that's obviously not the case. All right. At least it's not the total case. Okay. So we're at what? We're at 4. We're at 3.5 for 4 now. And I gave one a 0.5 and we could have been given it a whole point because the AWS Amazon services thing. So you guys tell me what y'all's opinion is. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Disagree? I certainly agree with myself. So I would venture to say that Ethereum is indeed decentralized. Now, does that mean that it cannot change? I mean, it's possible that it could, maybe all of a sudden tomorrow, everyone just moves all their Ethereum nodes from their local machine to an Amazon Web Services, right? Is that actually going to happen? Highly doubtful, guys. Highly doubtful. Now, speaking of the Boomer coin maximalists, and no offense out there, I do indeed myself, and I do enjoy a Boomer coin myself. I am a Boomer coin fanatic, and I certainly am. But the thinking in that any sort of other blockchain technology or quote unquote cryptocurrency is cancer and just going to kill people is Boomer thinking. Okay. It's literally Boomer thinking. All right. First and foremost, the reason why these people say that Ethereum is bad and it's not truly decentralized, and there is some truth to what I'm about to say, is because Bitcoin itself, okay, Bitcoin itself had what's called an immaculate conception. All right. And what I mean by that is, or something that we can compare it to, and actually we'll compare it to Ethereum, is that you guys know the guy on this thumbnail that I put that in bubble quotes that said blockchains, bro, or whatever, smart contracts, bro. That's Vitalik Buterin, okay? He is a 29-year-old computer scientist. He's my age, and he's basically responsible for creating the Ethereum network, right? Vitalik actually used to do code for the Bitcoin network. He was one of the open source devs, right? But if anybody has ever seen anything, that has to do with Ethereum updates, anything like that, that Vitalik guy, that Russian Canadian guy, he holds a lot of weight in what happens, right? At least with the code, he holds a lot of weight. It was kind of like, I believe in February or January, the miners were having a dispute. And they're like, yo, we're not going to allow you to change some of this stuff. And some of the developers were upset too. And he basically just snapped his finger and they all changed their mind, right? So what the guy says holds a lot of weight, okay? And he's alive. Now back to what I was originally saying, Boomer coin had what's called a immaculate conception, okay? And that's due to the fact that the creator, quote unquote creator, because we don't really know the truth about Satoshi Nakamoto. Dan Pena apparently does, but the quote-unquote creator doesn't exist anymore, right? They have never sold or transferred or moved any of their Bitcoin from their wallet, and thus we have a large majority. We have a percentage of some of those coins missing or unused, at least that we know of, right? And the guy that created the stuff is no longer there, okay? Plus, the Bitcoin network is way older than Ethereum. Not by decades, but I mean, as far as the whole cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency has been in existence since 2009, right? And we're currently 2021. So overall, we're still very early in this technology's birth and boom and bust, right? So in that scope, Bitcoin is quote unquote, it would be considered to be a lot older than Ethereum, okay? But because of this, and that's if you believe that Satoshi Nakamoto was indeed some Japanese dude in a cave and he's no longer alive, right? And he's just simply gone, or he's like, my work here is done. I don't do anything. But because of this, it was what's called an immaculate conception. The person that has the power and that was basically the creator is gone, right? There's nobody like an equivalent to Vitalik Buterin for the Bitcoin network, right? And this kind of allowed that technology to spread around everywhere, literally all over the place, a lot faster than Ethereum was able to do or has been able to do so far. Okay. And basically when Bitcoin came out, I mean, it was used for, there was a lot of it was used by the cypherpunks to just basically, have a way to send money to people without having to be dependent on a bank. Right. And so we know for certain that the creator or the creators, multiple, of the Bitcoin network and this technology in general knew that something was a little suspect about the central banking system, right? We knew that because of why? Because of this. And it's also in the thumbnail, but let me see if I can find a picture of it on here. I think I do have one pulled up. But because in the first block, in the data for the first block on the Bitcoin network, there was a quote about the bank bailouts after the 2008 financial crisis, right? If you guys have seen my Take the Orange Pill videos, you guys know that because I've talked about that in there. But we know that that's the case. They knew something about this, right? They knew something was a little bit suspect about the whole entire thing, right? About just, the central banking system in general. So one could argue that Bitcoin was indeed not meant to be a currency per se, or at least currency in the way that we think of it. But because of that, I guess I can remove my screen now and ingratiate you guys with my face again. Because it was used by the cypherpunks and used kind of like a way to get around sending money to places without having to ask for permission to do so. A lot of nefarious things were being done with Bitcoin, right? And not like truly nefarious things. Some things, right? But everybody knows about the Silk Road and Ross Ulbricht and all those people, right? People had used Bitcoin to buy drugs off the internet, right? And buy, whatever, right? I mean, I'm sure it was used for legitimate purposes as well. But because of this, more people wanted to use this stuff, right? More people wanted to use this technology other than people that just really, really cared about dismantling the central banking system and fixing our financial system, right? And it ended up being a benefit. And why is that? That's because the people started running nodes everywhere. Everyone wanted this stuff to use it, literally to use it, right? And it spread like a wildfire, literally like a wildfire. So we had an immaculate conception with that technology, which was different than Ethereum, and also it spread a lot faster because, in my opinion, guys, basically the creators, because I think it was more than one person that created this technology or boomer coin technology. And I think that it was more than one person that wrote the code for it, right? Now, in the beginning, obviously, there was multiple developers and they all eventually teamed up together and still do today to contribute to the network. But I think these people knew that its purpose was to basically destroy the United States dollar and eat it alive, which is why, if you guys look right here, I have this little guy in my corner. All right. But I think that it was guys as just a way, hey, bro, you guys go ahead and use these boomer coins because you can just send money wherever you want. You don't have to worry about asking for permission to do so. And they knew that was the case, and they knew that would allow it to spread a lot faster. So that's what the last and final argument would be, to go back to my point, guys. And sorry for going off a tangent. The last and final argument would be that Ethereum is not decentralized because it didn't have an immaculate conception. And that's true. Ethereum didn't have an immaculate conception, okay? Vitalik Buterin exists, all right? But it's kind of out of Vitalik Buterin's power now 100% per se, other than the power of his mouth. That's about all that he has, all right? I've been slacking on the comments. Let me check up with that. Nick's Legend says, back with the pizza. Cody says, plot twist, Peter Schiff is Satoshi. What if he was Satoshi? He would be maybe that's why he wants everybody to sell, because he wants to buy up the rest of his. If Peter Schiff was Satoshi, he wouldn't have to try to make people not buy Bitcoin. I guarantee you Peter Schiff has a boomer coin or two. All right. The guy might just have a boomer coin or two, because I know that his son does. All right. I'm sure his son was, bragging to his dad about how he's made a lot more gains than him in just 1 year alone. Shout out to Solomon. He says he name is like an evil genius. He name is like an evil genius. Don't know what you mean, Solo, but I agree. Sure. Max says, who would possibly use the internet to buy drugs? I don't know. I mean, obviously only criminals, right? And of course, thus that being said, Orange Coin bad. Only criminals, Max. Only criminals use Orange Coin, right? Don't use Orange Coin. Solo says, like buying 2 pizzas. Yeah, I mean, it can be more like buying pizzas with it, all right? Which again, I don't think that's what it was intended for, because several things. But number one is the fact that there's a quote to there's a reference to the bank bailouts of 2009, right? In the code of block number 1 of the Bitcoin network. Nick Sledge says, how are drugs still illegal? Good question. Because we need to keep the war on drugs open so we can monetize it, right? Randall J says, sub guys, what is up? Randall J. Christian Soto says, sounds legitimate. Winky face. Solo says, Nick Sledge, make your own country, make it all legal. I'm sorry, Solo, I didn't mean to quote you talking to somebody else. Nick Sledge says, Satoshi would be a mega billionaire. I think he would be, how many, I don't, you guys, what's the folklore? What is the amount of Bitcoin, quote unquote, the lost treasure of Satoshi? Hopefully in like 10 years, it'll be like, or 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, how we talk about pirate stories today, like the lost treasure of Captain Blackbeard who lost it to the Man of War. Maybe we'll get some kind of like stories like that. And then people will be trying to look for Satoshi's lost private keys and get access to all the boomer coins. So his name, Vitalik. Yeah, it does sound like Vitalik does kind of sound like an evil genius, right? When he looks like an evil genius too. Matt W, shout out. He says, like only criminals buy guns. LOL. Very true, Matt. Of course, only criminals buy guns. Duh. Solo D says, and that was sarcasm, guys. You couldn't tell. His says his name Vitalik. Oh wait, never mind. Already said that. Solo. All right. Boomer coin in the A bottle. All right. Boomer coin in the A bottle, indeed. I think that guy is using text to speech. If I had to make a guess. So where do we stand here, guys? Is Ethereum truly decentralized? I would say yes. It is indeed decentralized from a technological standpoint. All right. Is it as decentralized as the Boomer Coin network? No, I don't think so. Because we have way more nodes in the Boomer Coin network than we do in the Ethereum network. Right now, that's liable to change. All right, that's liable to change, but time will tell. Right. Cody says, "What if the last 10 blocks of Bitcoin were Satoshi's treasure?" We'll have to wait till the year 2130 to figure that out. But that would be nice, right? We won't know because we'll be dead. Pablo says, actual pronounced Vitalik. Cody Mouse says his seed phrase is LOL. Yeah, what if the who knows? Let's see. Christian Soto says the lost treasure of Satoshi. That would be some nice booty to find, right? So it says using swipe. I'm gonna try to stop now. Oh yeah, Scott's the text to speech is or swipe to text is coming in as gobbledygook. But to reiterate, and I know I constantly go off topic. You guys will have to excuse me. Yeah, I don't see any issue with Ethereum being quote unquote centralized or not decentralized. Okay, so if a maxi comes and tells you that, with maxis, you got to be careful. You got to be, because some of them can be very toxic, right? You got to be careful. You have to pat them on the head. You have to let them know that you also indeed enjoy yourself a boomer coin or two, all right? And that it's okay. It's okay to like boomer coin, all right? Obviously, everyone likes boomer coin. Everyone wants to be the top of the citadel, all right? But Ethereum being its own thing, there's no reason why, like Bitcoin, just because it has to be the number one coin, just because it has to be the primary store of value, because that's what it's for, guys. That's its purpose. Doesn't mean that other things can't exist and can't also be decentralized. Okay. Now, what are any of these other cryptocurrencies truly decentralized? I don't think so, anywhere near as much as Bitcoin and Ethereum are, right? And keep in mind, Ethereum is slightly less decentralized than Bitcoin, and I think most of that too is because of time, just because of time. But I don't know anything about Litecoin miners statistics. All right, I don't know anything about that, but I believe that Dogecoin mining and Litecoin mining are very similar. I think they believe actually that what is required to mine Litecoin, you can also mine Dogecoin with almost instantaneously. So, theoretically, if there is some sort of mass centralization of one or the other, they could easily just mine the other as well, right? Because they could just basically flip a switch in code and just mine the opposite or mine the other, right? Cardano truly decentralized? I'm pretty sure that they are probably the least decentralized out of everything we've mentioned so far. As far as I know, and I haven't done an audit on them like we did here just now, but from everything I've heard, if at least half the things that I've heard are true, then Cardano is not decentralized very much at all. However, they're saying that they're planning on becoming more decentralized, and that they have to start out like that, which that could be true. We could give them benefit of the doubt because that's kind of like what happened with Ethereum. All right. Randall J says, imagine if that pizza shop still had the Bitcoin they accepted. I think it was a person that paid for the pizza, but imagine if that person did. Maybe he does. I doubt it. As I'm sure when that thing went up to like $10, he was like, yo, dude, I'm out. Would have been smart for him to keep it though, right? If it was me and I just got something from a pizza, I would have been like, all right, there's a chance that this could go to like $100. I'm not going to sell it to him. I'll just keep it. But then I probably would have sold it 100 or something, maybe, right? Pablo says, shouldn't ETH be more valuable than Bitcoin because dApps are built on it? Okay, it's a good point. Actually, Pablo, thank you for bringing it up because that was actually something that I was going to mention. Okay, it's actually something I was going to mention. So they're talking about, or we're talking about Ethereum being something completely different than what the Boomer coin is, right? Now, shouldn't it be more valuable than Bitcoin? So here's the only way that I could see Ethereum being more valuable than Bitcoin in the long term. All right. Number one, it would have to be proof of work. It could never shift to proof of stake like it's going to be doing soon. All right. It's because of that. That's just going to prevent it from ever becoming as valuable as Boomer coin. And it doesn't mean that Ethereum can't ever be like $80,000 one day or $100,000, right? But at the same time, by then Bitcoin will be a lot more than those, right? Than those numbers, right? But that's reason number one. Reason number two is because there's no hard cap supply, right? So, I mean, theoretically, and I'll make a plug. Anybody who doesn't follow Cultivate Crypto on YouTube, go ahead and give him a follow and subscribe to his channel, and also subscribe to Dollar Cross Crypto, Miguel. He's a cool dude. Miguel, if you guys have ever taken any one of their courses, they're doing a course right now, and I believe it was last night or yesterday. They actually, Miguel was talking about Bitcoin having to potentially maybe one day have smart contracts on it, and he was actually talking about the exact same subject we're talking about right now. And the thing about it not having a hard supply, right? So not having a max cap supply is that basically like the Ethereum miners and the developers and the Ethereum community, the Ethereum Foundation, which, we didn't talk about that, and we probably should have, right? But the Ethereum Foundation does add a piece of centralization to this whole thing, right? But because there's people in a community that come together, they can kind of act like a Federal Reserve, and like, let's just say they do switch to, or whenever they do switch to completely proof of stake and not proof of work, they can kind of like, so if they completely switch to proof of work, there's going to be no more Ethereum mined, right? First, we're going to be going to like a hybrid phase where there's going to be some Ethereum being mined, and then there's going to be some being staked, all right? And that's how, new Ethereum is created, okay? And there's also going to be a higher burn rate with Ethereum, so that means there's going to be less. So it basically what's going on, if we get all the way to Ethereum 2.0, Ethereum will then be deflationary, all right? Which means that there'll, instead of more Ethereum be coming into circulation, there'll be less of it, okay? Which obviously can't go on forever, right? Why is that? Because then if there wasn't enough Ethereum going around, no one would be able to use any code on there anymore. Developers wouldn't be able to make any code because they would have to spend $100 bazillion to buy an Ethereum to launch code, and they would say, "Fuck this! I'm going to go to a different blockchain." All right, and they know that stuff, which is why they're not going to forever let that happen. All right. So what they can do is they can just act like a Federal Reserve and turn a switch on when they need more Ethereum to increase the number in circulation, and they can turn the switch off. All right, and turn it on and off. All right, but because of that, Pavlo. Because it has no hard capped maximum supply like Bitcoin does, it cannot be more valuable because it's just literally not. It's by nature of supply and demand, and just how the universe works in general. It can't. Not that it can't temporarily be, but it doesn't just because it has applications built on it and smart contracts doesn't make it more valuable, right? Because at the end of the day, Bitcoin, again, immaculate conception. The person who made it is gone. If anyone wants to change anything, they have to all agree on consensus in order to do that. All right, and there's way more people that have to come to an agreement and consensus for them to just say, hey, Bitcoin, we need to increase that number and supply. Right? Satoshi Nakamoto is dead, gone, or whatever. He's gone, so he can't come and influence all the people like Vitalik can. And basically, certain companies have control of Bitcoin miners and certain countries have control. So all these people have different agendas for what suits them best. So it would be, in my opinion, it would be a lot harder for that to happen. Would that ever happen? I mean, it would have to be in that way. And basically that's what makes Bitcoin what it is. In that way, if people were going to change something and agree on consensus for something, all right, for the Bitcoin network, it would have to be something that truly benefits literally all of mankind. As fucking cheesy as it sounds, otherwise there's no way that it would ever be changed, right? Christian says every time you say immaculate conception, I have church flashbacks. LOL. Christian says, can you do a breakdown of Monero in the future? It's supposed to be an untraceable, but I have seen some people saying it's broken and actually traceable. Devs even admitted it. There is some problems with that. Yeah, we can do a breakdown of that. I have to do some more research, but we could just do a live research we did last time. And then he also says, well, the rumor is that devs admit Monero is actually traceable. I just barely heard about this today. Okay, that's the thing. I mean, it's on a blockchain, right? Monero runs on a blockchain, right? So that data is forever, right? The data is forever. That data doesn't just disappear. And I don't know anything about the Monero code, but I do know that if you are running, I believe actually if you're running a mine, a node, that you can technically go see the transaction data, right? So I mean, if that's true, and I don't know if it's true or not. If that's true, then I mean, basically, if a government wants to track something, they could just see the transaction data, okay? But what Monero does do is that it doesn't have. I think that I'm not sure, but I think that the way that just the way the addresses are handled in Monero is that's what gives it the privatization more than just the transaction log being hidden. And that basically the people can't really see, people can't really query these addresses like we can on a blockchain explorer, like we can for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay. But yes, we can indeed do that. Blockchain Max says they should use Bitcoin blockchain for voting systems. I think that they do. Someplace, I'm not 100% sure. That wouldn't be a bad idea, though, right? That would definitely stop some bad things from happening. Yeah, and another thing I wanted to say, Pablo, because I forgot when I was reading the comments, is that also technically, I don't think some people actually disagree with me, but some people think that one day a Bitcoin is going to be to try to stay relevant. They're gonna come to the agreement to implement smart contracts on there, right? I don't think that that's ever going to happen because of how the Bitcoin network technology is set up. It's not I just don't think it's going to happen. Can it happen? It's possible. I just don't think so. And then also at the same time, that's not the purpose of Bitcoin, right? That's not what it was made to do. And so there's nothing wrong with what it is, right? It is what it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it shouldn't need to try to be like Ethereum, right? Although there are companies out there, let's see if I can find this example. There are companies out there that are actually looking to do that. They're looking at researching that. So if I look at, I think the company is called Sovereign, SOV. Actually, I got an email from something that they did today. So let's look at that, because I think someone's doing, they're paying people to do research on that. So let me see if I can pull this email up and look at that. All right. If you guys know, I did a Gitcoin video on my channel. I actually subscribed to one of these code repositories to see what actually was on there. And I found, let me share my screen. I found this. I found basically there's a company called Sovereign BTC, and they're basically looking to put DeFi on Bitcoin, and they're paying pretty good amounts. So let's see if we can find Gitcoin's Discord. And let's see. Can I get there directly from here? Somebody just got paid $7,000 for doing some work for them. Let's check this out. I don't know if this is the actual repository, but this is the guy. All right. Oh, wow. Very nice. This guy been getting paid $1,600 an hour average rate for doing Web3 development. That's pretty sick. All right, let me actually just go to because I think that this is like one of the largest bounties that they have right now. So it should be on the main page, but let's check that out. We can find it. All right, let's go to earn, find ways to earn. And we want to go to bounties. And then let's see. Let us see. I'm ready to earn. Explore bounties. All right. Let's explore those bounties. Oh, man. Of course, since I don't use this browser ever, let's see if we can pull it up on the other one. See if we can pull it up on the other guy. 1 second, guys. 1 second. So, let's see. Coin.com. Then I want to go to, let's see, do that here. All righty, go back to earn. And then let's go to click the earn again. And if you guys actually do want to check this out, that you can basically get paid some money. It's not a whole lot, but for doing like the most remedial things, like just deploying a smart contract, which takes 5 seconds to do, and anybody who can use Google and figure things out shouldn't be able to have a hard time doing it. So let's see. Here we go. Back to the bounties, explore bounties, and then it should be on the first page, if I recall correctly. Oh, still loading. All right. So if I do a search, if I do Control F for SOVER, sovereign. Maybe they already took it off because they had people looking for it. Anyway, the point is, guys, there's money basically put DeFi on Bitcoin, right? Which is, I mean, what would that require? That would require smart contracts. The only other way, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what that would require, smart contracts, unless some of the research that's being done is concluding to otherwise, right? One of those bounties was, I think they were literally trying to pay people $25,000 just for like a 2-page paper for research. So like research to incentivize and to create ways to put, quote unquote, put DeFi on Bitcoin. Now, what exactly putting DeFi on Bitcoin means, to me, that means implementing smart contracts in the Bitcoin network, right? Pavlo also says EIP 1559 will act as somewhat of a token conduct but I don't see anything new that's going to be added to Bitcoin. It'll just stay constant. Parachains will connect to everywhere but Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, so another thing too is like, how are we going to have so what do we have so far as decentralized exchanges like DEXs? We got like basically Binance BSC based DEXs, so Binance Smart Chain DEXs. So basically you can it's an exchange for ERC20 tokens and Ethereum, right? And then for BEP20, excuse me. Don't tell Mr. Funds or Seifu who said that, but it's basically just Binance's version of Ethereum, which, guys, if you don't know, all they did for Binance Smart Chain is literally copy the Ethereum network, and then they added what they wanted on top of that in the form of a Binance token, all right, BNB. So that's all that is. But so we have just decentralized exchanges like Uniswap, BurgerSwap, SushiSwap, Come Bunny, Rocket Swap, all right, Matcha Swap. Literally, there's a bunch of these, and these are also like basically clones of each other too. 1inch is pretty cool. Actually, it's a little bit different than some other ones. But so if you want to have a decentralized exchange, I mean, basically, like, you have to deal with ERC20 tokens, right? How could one go through a payment rail or an exchange and trade in a decentralized manner Bitcoin for Ethereum, right? The only way we can currently do that right now is with a wrapped Bitcoin or one of the quote unquote wrapped Bitcoin protocols, which basically like, and this is also kind of sketchy too. But you know, if you trust these people and you've done your research, you know, you should feel more obliged to quote unquote trust them. But basically, what they do is there's a foundation out there, several of them, but one in particular that I'm thinking about. You basically you can go to them and you can purchase a wrapped Bitcoin, or you can give them a Bitcoin, okay, and they will keep custody of it for you, right? And in return, you get exchanged an ERC20 token equivalent of Bitcoin called wrapped Bitcoin, all right? And that there's actually 1% of all Bitcoin's total supply is now locked up in this protocol. But so like, if you want to like do that, you can. And then there's Curve, which, I mean, and that's this whole other thing too. But currently there's currently no way to like exchange just a regular good old fashioned Boomer coin for a regular good old fashioned Ethereum or just like Doge or whatever, unless you go through, you know, Coinbase, Kraken, what are any of these other exchanges, right? Which these are all centralized, right? And that's why, Pablo, I think that eventually like parachains will have to connect to Bitcoin. How that exactly is going to be done from a technical standpoint, I really don't know, dude. I really don't know unless they do put some sort of higher level programming language ability on the Bitcoin network. And does it have to be smart contract per se? Technically, yes, right now, but does that mean that does that mean that developers can't find a solution to that in the future? No, they definitely can. But much like, you know, in 1970, if you try to explain to somebody what a Boomer coin was, they'd be like, "The fuck are you talking about?" The same way right now, for the person in the future that does invent that or could possibly invent that, for them to come back here and to explain that to us, we'd be like, "Huh? What?" Antonio says, "What is up? What is up, my friend? Know your worth. Welcome, my friend. Hello, hello, hello." Elbow bump from Solomon. I hope that wasn't TTS this time. But yeah, guys, I digress and I lose my train of thought. I don't know what the solution to that would be other than what we currently have right now. But I mean, and things. So everything that I said tonight in the stream, all these things could change in like 5 years. We could easily just change, right? We could literally program ourselves. We could just program ourselves into oblivion. We could ruin all this technology too, really quick, really fast too, really fast. So it's all like, what do you trust? Do you guys trust the developers out there? Do you trust me? I hope you guys trust me. Don't worry, I would never do you guys wrong. I promise. Do you guys trust Vitalik? I don't know. I mean, do you guys trust that Satoshi is some dead Japanese guy in a cave? Because again, Dan Pena seems to disagree with that theory, and he seems to think that he knows who Satoshi is, and that it is indeed not a Japanese guy in a cave, and that when it comes out of who that guy is, it's going to zero, guys. It's going to zero. So actually, if it does go to zero, you guys should all, what the smartest thing, what the most logical thing to do actually would be is, obviously, guys, the reason for this technology just hasn't changed anything in the future or in our past, right? Technology is just, definitely hasn't like made huge changes in the whole world. The internet definitely didn't connect people from all over different countries, and it didn't, the internet's not important, right? So, anytime new technologies, we can just ignore them. The fundamentals for why all these things are needed we can just ignore all that shit, right? And you should just buy this stuff and not believe it. And you should buy it, and then when it goes down 50%, you should buy it at the top. You should wait. You should literally wait till everybody else is screaming that it's going to $500 million, and then you should buy at the top, all right? And then what I want you to do after that is when you experience some volatility, you should just immediately sell at a 50% loss, and then you should just tell everybody that's a Ponzi scam, because that would be the most logical thing to do, right? Because obviously there's no need for this technology. I hope you guys can sense the sarcasm in my the sarcasm in my voice, because the point being is that this technology is needed, right? It's literally needed. And as cheesy as it fucking is to say, like, the boomer coin has done, you guys, we can't hate the boomer coin maximalists, all right? You guys can't hate the boomer coin maximalists, all right? You guys need to love them, and you need to love the boomer coin too, because boomer coin has done a lot for humanity, right? It literally has and is going to be doing a lot for humanity and mankind, all right? More than just riding a wave and getting rich because you believed in something that other people didn't, all right? It actually, as cheesy it is, it has helped and is going to be helping a lot of people in the future. I truly believe that, all right? I truly believe that that's the case, and I believe that this technology has its place and purpose. I believe this technology is going to finish the job of what it was created to do, and that is to eat and consume all the U.S. dollars to the point to where one Big Mac is equal to 1 million USD. All right. So if you just believe that, you believe in technology, that it's going to continue to change and evolve as we have throughout humankind. All right. Just like it already has. And, it wouldn't be far fetched to think that code can be changed and that people can agree in the future and come to consensus on it. Right. But again, that's why these measures are set in place. Right. That's why you need a majority hashing power in order to make changes to something like the Bitcoin network, right? Know your worth. Yo, brother, thank you for stopping in again, my friend. Nick Sledge says, we devs would never rug you guys, for sure. So this says, Josh will never rug us. I promise, guys. Just trust me, I will never rug. Pablo says, let's all be boomers and wait for the next halving like the rapture. That's not a bad idea. That actually is a very good idea, Pablo. Cody says, as long as they aren't like the devs I work with, LMAO. I hope not, dude. Honestly, Cody, a lot of devs that I've worked with in the past, the past 7 years of me working professionally with people, a lot of people, like, a lot of devs are like, that Bitcoin thing's a scam, man. They're normies too, dude. There's a lot of devs that are normies too. So the devs that are doing the code for the Bitcoin network, they're not like those normie devs. I remember when it was like December 2016. It was either December 2016 or 2017. And Bitcoin had reached like $20,000 the first time, and like it was me and my team, and like I was the only person who had like a few of those boomer coins, and they were like, dude, my quote unquote best work friend at the time looked at me and was like, dude, you need to sell this shit. Like this thing's it's literally going to zero. You need to get out now. And I was like, that was like something that I bought a while ago when I was in college, and like I had no need for it. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. When it was 20K, and later on I did sell some of it when it was a lot lower than that because I actually needed it for an emergency for something. But these people were like, all like, dude, it's going to go to fucking zero, because and a lot of people, a lot of devs, they're normies too. They don't know how the financial world exists. They're not woke. They're not quote unquote woke. They're not orange pilled. All right. They're not orange pilled. All right. That's what we got to say. They're not fucking orange pilled on the financial system. They're not orange pilled on all that stuff. They think that the life that we live right now is normal. They think that all this shit is normal, and all they're doing is they're working on their little code for something that's probably irrelevant to most of society and isn't going to change the world, right? So hopefully the Bitcoin devs, are doing that because they believe in the technology, and I would make that assumption, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it, right? The code is usually, if I'll tell you guys this, if you're writing code for something that you fucking don't like or don't care for, it's very painful. Very painful. Imagine when you guys were in school and you were in an English class and you had to read a book that you didn't fucking care about, and then you had to write like a 10-page paper on it and you didn't care about it. How hard was that to do as compared to having to do the same thing for a book that you're really pumped or a book that you actually really liked, right? Huge difference, right? Know Your Worth says, how far away do you think quantum computing from being a reality? I mean, we physically don't have as far as like hardware, we don't have ease of accessibility for the hardware for that right now. We're probably pretty far off. I would say man, I don't want to give like a wrong answer, but I'd say like a minimum of like 10 to 15 years before that would even be an issue. But Know Your Worth. That being said, again, when technology gets better, developers will find a solution for that and code that solution away, because that's basically what we do, right? We code solutions, we code problems away. Sometimes that code, though, is just literally just the equivalent of sweeping dirt underneath a carpet. Okay, so hopefully it's not that. But I mean, if I think I know why you're asking that question. It's because if the concern is if the quantum computing could break down the security of one of these blockchain protocols. If that happens, by the time that is readily accessible to where by the time that is easy enough for wealthy entities such as a government could be implementing quantum computing to try to break down one of these protocols, somebody would have the equivalent to be able to have safe measures taken place in order to prevent that. All right, at least that's what we're going to go with for now. Now, if quantum computing comes out tomorrow, let's just say this, we all know, apparently, we don't, not apparently, we know that the United States government has lied about aircrafts for a long time that they've had and didn't tell us that they had it until 20 years later. For example, what is that plane, the SR-72 Blackbird, which I actually saw one for Memorial Day fly out of my balcony. I actually have a picture of that. I would show it on the screen, but I'm sure you guys really don't care about that. But yeah, that technology they had 20 years ahead of time, right? And they didn't tell anybody about it. But so let's just say, tomorrow, if that was the case, it just came out. Yeah, I mean, the Bitcoin network would be fucked, but so would everything, right? Anybody who had access to that power, whoever was on their bad side, whatever technology would be on their bad side, they would be screwed anyway, right? So, also, you guys know anything about our current financial system would definitely be fucked, right? Let's just say an opposite bad actor. So a company or a country that doesn't like the United States, if they had access to that, they could just wreck they could wreck the Swift payment processing system, which technically they could already do. Someone could do that right now without quantum computing. The only reason they can't is because everybody's dependent on it, right? Or the only reason they don't is because everybody's dependent on it, right? All right, chat went out for a second. Let me catch up with you guys. So let's see, where did we leave off? Nick Sledge says we need to get some tins to seduce Vitalik. Have you guys ever been to getvitalikfit.io? If you haven't, I suggest checking it out. But don't send that address money that's asking for it. Christian Soda says sounds exciting. Cowboy emoji. I am a cowboy, Christian, so that is my emoji. So thank you. Nick Sledge, train Vitalik to handle the females. Yeah, we need to get Vitalik fit first. That's why I suggest everybody to go to getvitalikfit.io. Know Your Worth. Technology causes disruption equals opportunity. Exactly. Which is why we're all here in the first place, right? That's literally why we're all here in the first place. Okay. Christian Soto, Big Mac emojis. Yes, three Big Macs would be $3 million US in the year 2028. Don't you guys forget that. I'm making a prediction right now. Cody Mouse says, I noticed that devs don't learn new stuff to up their skills sets are also anti-orange coin. That's pretty good observation. I would 100% agree with that. Antonio says, I forgot to mention about the QFS. Yeah, we forgot about that too. I will do a stream on that too eventually in the future. Mary War says, exactly. Jaron George says, if quantum computers became a reality, most of our encryption algorithms will render useless. Then we will have more things to worry about than Bitcoin. 100% factual. Facts machine on loud, 100%. Other people agree with you in here as well, it looks like. Yeah, I mean, at that point, Boomer Coin is going to be the last thing we're going to be concerned, right? People are probably going to be more concerned about how they're going to get their power turned on and how are they going to eat and get food, all right? Cody says, I don't know, man. The government is hella boomer when it comes to IT. Look, the colonial pipeline thing and man, I could go on about that too. Not just our government, but a lot of the United States large corporate infrastructure, technical infrastructures are boomer as fuck. All right. And that's coming from someone who has worked on several large legacy applications. I have done work for the government before, and I can guarantee I've done work for the government for things that people use every 4 years, and they're very important. And there was a controversy about this year, and I can guarantee you that a lot of those technologies are very, very, very bad and written very poorly, in very old and ugly spaghetti code in .vb.net, which if anybody is in here knows anything about development and you guys ever heard of vb.net, that is the type of programming language that if you just read, even if it's good, now I'm not talking about, and this is not good code too, right? This is like thousands and thousands of lines of the most grotesque, ugly spaghetti code that has so many people's hands have been on it that they don't even know. You might get the coronavirus from just looking at it, right? A lot, and I mean a lot of American companies' technical infrastructure is based off of code just like this, and it's very old, and it's very insecure, and it's very bad. And the only reason why they haven't switched over yet is because most of the people that are in control and in charge of these companies are fucking retards, and they don't understand. They see it would require $10 million to hire a team of people to redo this code from start to finish in a efficient, clean, and good manner. And they say, nah, that's not worth $10 million. We'll continue to pay $120,000 a year for someone to fix it for the next 3 years. All right. When in reality, when they have a security breach and people force them to send Bitcoin, which I think that was a false flag. But when things like that happen, it becomes a lot more expensive than $10 million, right? And so, yeah, again, if from Jaron's comment said, if that was the case and quantum computing came out, we would be a lot more screwed than we would have a lot more things to worry about than just the Bitcoin network or just Bitcoin in general, right? Nick Sledge says quantum computing would break SSL. Yeah, it would. It would break it within a matter of seconds. Let's see. Solo D says, great show. And he says, curious, what is quantum computing? Quantum computing is when Elon Musk and Elizabeth Warren have a baby. And, well, you know the story of the birds and bees, right? And basically, apply that to Elon Musk and Elizabeth Warren. Just kidding. Quantum computing is basically like, you can think of it to put it in layman's terms, you can think of quantum computing as computational power on steroids plus extra steroids, plus it has God power, like Jesus Christ and God himself gave a computer extra power. That would be quantum computing. Basically it has, like, if you have a password, the quantum computer could just think for itself and just be like, hey, I know your password now. And it would know your password. And then, yeah, that's what, in layman's terms, what quantum computing is. But if you want to actually learn about it, just do a Google search on it. They'll tell you a lot of like fancy buzzwords that are overly complicated, but really it's just computing power that can basically deny physics of our three-dimensional realm, essentially, right? I mean, there's people like, and we can get really into that too, but there's like conspiracy theorists out there that say that Satan is in control of quantum computing and that the fourth dimensional creatures control the world through quantum computing, and that's a whole other story too. And there's other, there's plenty that aliens use quantum computing to come back and forth from their universe and our universe, and that aliens aren't from outer space, that they're from different dimensions. I don't know if you guys can hear that motorcycle right now, but that's actually the alien that's coming here through quantum computing. He's going to come and hopefully I don't get abducted. Well, they know my old school RuneScape bank pin. Yes, with quantum computing, they would most definitely have all of your party hats within a matter of minutes. Nerdware says quantum computing is the coordinated interconnect computer, basically that surpasses human ability because it could compute everything at once and break any code. Exactly. That's his version. That's his version of what he says. That's exactly, yeah. I mean, like, quantum computing is many things, but you could just basically think of it as an omnipotent computer that can do anything and is more powerful than humans driving computers. So how does a computer work now is basically like, and I am right here. I have, keyboard in hand, right? I got keyboard in hand. I got microphone in hand. All right. I got mouse in hand. I got monitors in hand. So I'm driving this computer right now. But I can write software and scripts, and these scripts can do things, right? Quantum computing is basically like AI, which is artificial intelligence. And the artificial intelligence can essentially, this is a form of quantum computing, but when people refer to quantum computing, they usually think of this. This artificial intelligence can essentially write its own code and update its own code and just do whatever it wants because it's way smarter than the human brain. Now the problem with the quantum computing is like, one thing I was always taught and always have told people is that software is only as good as the person who programmed it, right? So who is going to program this quantum computing? Who is going to get that done? Is Elon Musk going to do that? Certainly think not. The dude's the fakest engineer, the most fugazi engineer I've ever seen in my whole life. He's a Kazan. I used to like that guy too. I used to respect Elon because I used to think that he was a legitimate smart guy, and now I'm just starting to think that maybe he's probably still smart, but a little bit less smart than how he perceives or how people perceive him, and that he's also just kind of like a narcissist who just enjoys doing retarded things and taking it up the ass from Uncle Sam because, that's my opinion. But quantum computing is definitely, we're not there yet unless indeed Satan himself did come from the fourth dimension or the aliens or whoever, and they're the ones who are controlling everything, and they just want to grant the government that ability to have quantum computing. So it says quantum computing. I think I heard about it in Rick and Morty episode. There is a Rick and Morty episode. There is a Rick and Morty episode about quantum computing. It's actually pretty funny. Elon Musk, fake natty. He is indeed a fake natty, dude. Jaron says, I used to respect Elon too, but he is all smoke and mirrors. Yeah, I mean, like, it's actually, it was counterproductive for him because, okay, so here's the guy. In my personal opinion, too, a lot of these things that have been happening in regards to our most favorite sovereign technology, blockchain, a lot of these and the cryptocurrencies that are based off of the blockchain technology, a lot of these recent things that have been happening to create FUD. Did you guys just see that lightning? I saw that in the screen. That's crazy. A lot of these things have been happening just seem a little bit suspect to me. They seem like it's just the same thing as Orange Man bad stuff from back in the day. It's like it's too much at once. It's almost like it's not almost. They're trying so hard to make people hate the orange coin, and all this other stuff with Elon Musk happens at the same time. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is literally at his company's well-being is literally is bent at the knee to the United States government because of the tax credits. Okay, so if you guys don't know, Tesla makes hardly any money off of selling Tesla cars, all right? They hardly make any money off of selling Tesla cars for several reasons. Not because nobody buys Tesla, but a lot less people buy Tesla than people buy normal cars, all right? That's fact number one. Fact number two is because a majority of people cannot afford a Tesla and thus have to buy other cars, right, from other companies. And other car companies don't offer fully electric vehicles like Tesla does. And if they do, they're very limited. Most people don't want those vehicles, right? They're not cool and super powerful like a Tesla, right? Even the slower Teslas are like almost as fast as like a modern day sports car, right? And excuse me, because of this, we have certain laws now that the government basically tells these other car companies, if you guys can't sell X amount of electric cars per year, you have to buy these papers. Basically, they're buying a paper from Tesla or from a company, a car company that does sell electric cars. And basically, so for example, Ford only, let's just say the theoretical number of electric cars that every American motor company must sell every year is 100,000 of these cars, right? Let's just say Ford only sells 2,000 out of the 100,000 because they just can't, because they don't offer enough electric cars to make those sales numbers, right? If they can't make that quota, if they can't make that $100,000 quota of electric car sales, then they're forced to buy paper basically from a company that has an abundance of these electric car sales. All right. And what only company is that in the United States right now? That's Tesla. All right. So Tesla makes a majority of their income, not even from the own cars they sell. They make a majority of their income from government grants that other car companies are forced to buy from them. Okay. So how many people were actually buying Tesla with Bitcoin? I've heard zero. I don't know how true that is. All right. But the dude he just fucked himself because people were like, hey, this guy's cool. And then he started all this fuckery with, tweeting. And then what did happen? I mean, people got angry and people exposed him. For example, I had known several years ago that he was from a rich family from South Africa, but I actually completely forgot about that. That he's basically royalty. He's basically like the engineering equivalent of Justin Trudeau. All right. And we all know about that Justin Trudeau guy. He kind of sucks, right? So in the same way, not Bitcoin, Boomercoin doesn't suck. Sorry, guys. The same way Elon kind of sucks. He's a fake. He doesn't have an engineering degree. He's never had his hands on anything technically engineering related in his whole life. He bought Tesla from two other guys who are way smarter than him. The only thing that he has had anything to do with as far as like fintech is PayPal, and he basically was like kicked out of PayPal from my understanding. All right. So, and people either forgot about this kind of stuff, or they just didn't know. And when people got angry because of him, they exposed him. They were like, "Yo, dude, why are you doing that? You're acting like you're some like really cool guy, but you're really not that cool. And here's why." And now people have seen people have taken the orange pill and they have seen the code in the matrix. And another thing, I will pat myself on the head, and I will say this: from day one, when Elon originally was like, I'm going to buy some Bitcoin, I'm going to start tweeting about Bitcoin, I knew from day one he was never really one of us. All right. You want to know how I know? Because I saw a video of him not too long before that where he was basically explaining to people, fiat currency is basically just fake money. And then also, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is fake money too. Right. But basically, they're both kind of really shitty, but Bitcoin is maybe just a little bit less shitty than fiat currency. Because he said that, and the way that he said it, that's how I knew. Okay, that's how I knew that he was never really one of us. Because if he actually has done his research and he spent the time to understand this technology like a real engineer would have done, he would have understood what its use case is, why it was made the way that it was, and that it is indeed not bullshit. Right? He was basically making it seem like it was a Ponzi scheme, and obviously it's not. Right? Cody says, Elon about to fuck around and find out on crypto. Never turn your back on that level of autism for sure. Never turn your back on Bitcoin Twitter because there's full of some toxic autists in there. Solo D, it's raining over here in New York. Get a raincoat, my friend, and stay prepared. Know your worth says, yeah, bro, lightning emoji. So I hope you guys did see that. It was pretty crazy. Randall says, wish it would rain here at 104 right now in Arizona. That sounds hot as fuck, my friend. I wish you some rain too. 200 mile car range. Yeah, 200 miles is not a whole lot for. Look, Teslas they're really not that great, guys. It's kind of like we've kind of like turned Tesla into like a status symbol, right? Even though you can go buy a base model Tesla for like $32,000, which is like the same price as a Toyota Camry, right? Or Corolla or whatever. Maybe a Camry now because of inflation. Who the fuck knows? Solid says Spark, Volt, Leaf. Yeah, Spark, Volt, and the Leaf are all like Chevrolet. right? Chevrolet electric vehicles. But still, how many people buy those compared to if you want, you too, my friend, you have to answer this question honestly. Like, if someone's like, I'm gonna give you a free electric vehicle, what are you gonna take? Obviously, you're gonna take. Well, actually, I lied. If I was someone to give me a free electric vehicle, I would get a Karma. If you guys don't know what that is, Google it. Google Fisher Karma. That used to be, and I don't think the Fisher is an electric because it's an older car, but it's basically like an electric exotic luxury car, right? That's what I would get. But in normal people, they would get a Tesla, right? Because of the status, right? Because of Kim Kardashian told them to do so, right? Know Your Worth says, sounds like kickbacks to me. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what those little grants are. They're kickbacks. It's like Tesla's income strategy is more of a Ponzi scheme than Boomer Coin. In actuality, guys, all right? In actuality, Tesla's income strategy is more of a Ponzi than Boomer Coin. Another thing, too, that I forgot to mention, Tesla turned more profit on the minuscule amount of Bitcoin they liquidated this year than they ever have selling cars, which is funny because the dude's like talking about how bad it is or trying to allude on Twitter that the orange coin is bad. You know what? Look, Elon, we already know. We've heard enough orange coin bad too many times. We're starting to catch up by now. All right. Randall says, I've seen a Leaf at a car dealership over 2 years. I don't think it's been moved once. Yeah, because people don't really want those cars, right? And thus, that's what kind of creates this whole kickback Ponzi thing, right? Cody Mouse says there's a story similar to the Tesla thing about the early railroads. I wouldn't be surprised. Max says apparently the new Model S Plaid can do 0 to 60 in sub 2 seconds. I think so. I think it does, or at least in the 2 second range. Cody says basically all the railways that took government subsidies failed miserably, and only one guy created the rail infrastructure we have today. It sounds about right. I mean, you guys think about the Pareto principle. Usually like 20% of something is done, or 80% of something is done by 20% of the population, right? The same thing applies to code too. 20% of the developers do 80% of all the code, all right? That's a facts right there. Elon does it for clout. True, probably so. Know Your Worth says Elon has no logic circuit. No, he does not. Can we flash Elon's bio somewhere? God, I wish we could. That would make the world a lot easier, right? Max says it's not about what's best. It's just about what's better. Yeah. I don't know what you're referring to, but I agree with you on that. Are you referring to Boomer Coin versus Fiat, or are you referring to Tesla vehicles versus whatever lesser vehicles? There's a Karma dealer in my town. Really? So I've never seen a Karma dealer before in my entire life. That would actually be sick to go check one out. And then he says, Josh, trading your Mustang for an electric Mustang. I will most definitely never, ever do that. I will never do that. Look, I actually don't know my future, guys. I don't know my future. But if you guys ever see me in an electric Mustang, please chase the car down, drag me out, and just beat me sideways because I'm probably dreaming. Max says Nissan Leaf, Chevy Volt. Yeah, the Nissan Leaf. I think someone mentioned that too. I mean, okay, guys. There's a few of these cars, right? But I mean, I never really see, as opposed to like, you know, what's better. Obviously, you know, Teslas are better, and thus they sell more electric cars. Know Your Worth says the Fisker Karma is dope. Yes, it is. Have I been saying Fisher the whole time, or did I say Fisker? Am I being autisy over here? Christian Soto says noted. Afi Kingdom Podcast. What is up, Afi? Fire signs in the chat. Solo D says electric Porsches are fire looking too. I think the what's the sedan? It's called the sedan is called it is called whatever. You guys know the four door Porsche. There's like 10 different trims of those too, right? One of them is an electric trim, but it's not the fastest one that they have too, right? Afi Kingdom, salute to you too, my friend. Antonio says, I want to make a donk Tesla to put swangas on it. That would be hilarious. I think that you can't even do anything to Teslas because of how everything is like so, the way that all these things are crafted. Like the way that these cars are designed, like they have to be done a certain way in order to handle that that amount of horsepower at the rate that okay, so one thing I will explain about these electric vehicles like Tesla. So these things are really fucking fast and powerful for electric cars, right? And the truth is, guys, the technology for electric cars, as far as performance, is far superior to anything that we have in modern time, as far as gasoline, all right? And I'm talking about some more superior to Lamborghini, Porsche technology, like the best that you can think of, right? But the problem is, if you are on tires and you still live in the three-dimensional world, right? If you have that much power immediately to the rear wheels or even all four wheels, it causes problems, right? It causes problems that basically make it hard for you not to just spin in one spot, all right, and get traction essentially, right? And because of the way that these cars are designed, like, I don't think you can change anything. But if we could find a way to get a Tesla and put some swangers on it, that would be hilarious. I would definitely be bumping around Miami with that because that would be the only Tesla I've seen like that. So D says Fister, winky mark. Know your worth, fire sign. Tyrion says, Josh, where were you at the Josh fight? Which Josh fight are you talking about? Let me know in the chat, and I will confirm if I was indeed at that fight. I don't know what you're talking about. The fight where I fight myself. You guys need to see that? Would you guys like me to do that for live stream? Because indeed we can. All right, guys, we are rolling up on an hour and 41 minutes. Panorama, Max. Yes, Max. It is a Porsche Panorama. Thank you very much. The Josh fight. Is that something I should know? Should I Google that? Should I Google it, guys? Am I too aspy to know what the Josh fight is? I'm not sure. Antonio says, can you get Tesla a candy color? I'm sure you can. You can get shit. You can get anything wrapped whatever color you want. All right, guys. An hour and 41 minutes and 37 seconds approximately. We're gonna have to call it here. So we've strayed away from the main topic for quite some time. All right. We've been having some fun talking about putting swangers on Tesla vehicles. But back to our original topic. It is my belief, in conclusion, that Ethereum is indeed truly decentralized. The real question you want to ask yourself after that is it as decentralized as Bitcoin? And I have to say no. I have to say it's not as decentralized as Bitcoin. Does it mean that it can't ever be there? It doesn't mean that can't ever be the case. And will it ever change in the future? Again, these are things that we can only find out in time. All right, things we can only find out in time. But rest assured, fellas, that there is no immense, immediate, great risk for some sort of powerful entity to come down and knock on Ethereum's door and destroy all of our ever so important ERC20 based tokens. Randall says, heading to the gym. It's chest day. Enjoy, my friend. That is exactly what I did today, too. And that is all I have for you gentlemen tonight. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you could please at least be so kind as to drag your little finger over to the like button and just click a like. It doesn't even help the algorithm anymore, guys. I am just narcissistic and I want to see likes on my videos. If you guys want to reach me, feel free to go to this website right here, eatliftprogram.com, developerdirection.com as well. If you would like some help with software development or IT, career choices, or getting paid in IT in general. And also check out SeviPay.com. Again, if you want to find a good and reliable, easy, fast, efficient, MetaMask integrated Ethereum payment processor for your website. And that is it, fellas. I am out, and I will see you guys later.